Welcome to the Webb Report. My name is Stuart Webb. This is episode 8. And this episode is just a little reminder for everyone who listens to this to never forget what happened just a few short years ago, where not only the governments of this country, but the governments of the entire world basically violated natural law in concert with each other on a magnitude never seen before. Basically, telling people that they cannot exercise their natural rights until we say that you're allowed to exercise them again. So this was such a gross violation of our natural rights that we need to remember that it happened. I know a lot of things are kind of back to normal, but going into this election in 2024, in November of 2024, and in light of what happened yesterday with the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, we need to remember that the government's our government, state, federal, local, violated our natural rights in such a gross way for quite some time, quite a long time actually. It was not 1 week. It was not even 1 year in some cases, but in some cases 2 years of gross violations of our natural rights. Things happened that the average person would say could never happened. Well, it happened in our country, in America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, right? It happened here, where our whole mantra is freedom, that we have freedom here. Well, not if you can't exercise your natural rights, not if every single state government violates your natural rights in such an obvious way. You can't claim that anymore. Okay, so we need to remember going into this election season that the governments of this earth, many of them, if not all of them, are very corrupt, and they seek to destroy the agency of man. And we need to be aware of it. We need to remember that just a few short years ago, these things happened, where most of our state governments and the federal government declared, well, the feds, Donald Trump himself declared a national emergency, which triggers, basically, it triggers in law his ability to do things outside of law. It basically essentially makes him a dictator. George Bush has done this. I don't know if Obama's done this explicitly, but George Bush definitely did this after 9/11. He declared an emergency, and that essentially suspended the Constitution. So that's what happened in 2020. And not only did the federal government do this, the executive branch, but all of the governors, I think almost all of them, declared some form of state emergency, which gave them just a ridiculous amount of power. It basically made them each little dictators of their own state. And that is wrong. It's immoral. And it was certainly not even close to being justified. Okay? You do not have the right to be healthy. Sorry. Getting sick is a universal risk of being alive. It is very obvious. Okay? It is a universal risk. No one has a claim against someone else if they catch a cold or if they get cancer. No, it is a universal risk of being alive. So there's not a claim. No one violated your rights if you caught a cold or you got sick or you got a disease. Okay? especially if I mean, you would have to, the burden of proof would have to be so high. You'd have to be able to literally file lawsuits against a specific person that got you sick against your will somehow. I mean, the burden of proof would be so high in order for you to claim that. So we all essentially understand, or should understand, that getting sick is a universal risk, and you do not have a right to good health. If everyone had a right to good health, then every time I got sick, I could make a claim against the federal government or for violation of my natural rights. The problem is, having good health is not a natural right. So that's a more simplified way that you can understand these things, so that when the governments of this country try to shut you down, shut your businesses down, and keep you from exercising your natural rights, you can, you have an argument against them. You can say no. Having good health is not, you can't shut down my natural rights because other people don't want to get sick. It's just, sorry, getting sick is a universal risk to being alive, to being human. And so, because that's kind of the argument, is that the governments shut down society to protect society based off of an illness that was spreading. So we just need to remember that all those things that we thought couldn't happen, well, most of them did happen. And I remember people saying that they would not, the federal government or the state governments would not try to, or employers would not try to force people to get vaccinated. Well, yeah, they did in a lot of ways force people to get vaccinated. Maybe not explicitly, I think because they knew they couldn't get away with it, but how many people, I'm sure everyone you know, or out of all the people you know someone that was pressured, whether it be by threatening to lose their job or to be fired. There were millions of people, millions, that were pressured into taking an experimental vaccine. They were pressured into it. They were forced. So if you don't think that the government would do this, could do this, will do this, well, they have done it. And they will probably do it again. So be vigilant. Study your natural rights so that you have a leg to stand on when you have an argument. You have something, to combat people trying to force you into things that you know are not right, that you know are immoral. So arm yourself with what God has given you. And also do research as best you can. I know there's a million things you can look into, and I get stuck down rabbit holes, and there's only so much time in the day. But do your research into things of importance, and just recognize that the state governments and our federal government, if they declare a national emergency, that essentially means that the Constitution, in a lot of ways, is suspended, which means they don't have to protect your natural rights, and a lot of leaders that declare these emergencies, whether governors or presidents, they are essentially dictators of their jurisdiction, and that is not good. Not good. We need to be aware of that, and we need to be aware of it, and we need to change the laws. We need to get back to natural law, and all the laws that are written through our representative governments, they need to have the laws need to be written with a foundation on natural law. So we need to throw out and get rid of things that should not be there. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.